Hello, I thank you guys so much for making time to be interviewed on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank
For
you
the
too.
audience, I'd like you guys to know that we're going to go panel discussion. And we're talking today about Black fathers. Coming to a screen near you, coming to a podcast platform near you, we have Black fathers that are going to give the breakdown of the importance of our Black male in the community.
Yes.
What we can do to help make it easier for them to rejoin the situation that they have been shut out of, and a little bit more on how to understand them. Um, this first question is going to be a little out of order. It is for Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, can you please tell us what made you bring out this show?
Well, over the past 3 decades, maybe a little more than 3 decades, I've seen the dynamic in our neighborhoods and communities where it's so obvious that the male is missing from the home or from the family situation that it was important to bring this into social media, into television in a very positive and loving manner that seemed to be missing on a whole. When I look at television today and when I see what's streaming on YouTube, I don't see a lot of what's portrayed still in a very positive light as being great fathers. And also, all the mistakes I made as a young father, I wanted to give a little information about those mistakes and a little bit of the wisdom as far as solutions. And these two gentlemen have a wealth of knowledge and experience. So I felt like that was it was the right time. I couldn't sit back and wait anymore. Too many of our youth are being either enslaved mentally, enslaved physically, or just flat out being killed or just driven by emotionally where they're no longer able to operate in a productive way in society.
Well, I would like to personally say thank you. I am a mother of both sons and daughters. I truly believe that fathers are important in both lives. I believe that as
Yes,
a woman, I cannot teach my son how to be a man.
yes, ma'am.
And so
Not
this
me.
this is very inspiring for women like me. Brian, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, I am Brian Damon. I am a part of this panel.
Counselor Damon,
They call me Counselor Damon.
professional.
I'm a mentor and a nurturing parent coach. I'm also a nurturing parent instructor. I work with families on building better parenting structures around the family, and also part of the nurturing fathers community as well.
And he is a
Awesome.
leader in the community, a real
I'll
leader.
take that. I try my best to be.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Williams, would you introduce yourself?
All my friends call me Ghost, the real Ghost, not the guy from the Power Show. I've been Ghost for 40 years, 30, 40 years. It's been a little minute, but I am a business owner here in Marion County. I have had businesses throughout Central Florida, Orlando, Tampa, St. Pete. So now I'm residing here in Ocala in beautiful Marion County, and I found that our community, if you will, in Ocala has been somewhat held back in certain ways financially and even educationally when it comes to worldwide true Black history. So I've picked Ocala to start the I Am School in, which we're hoping to be breaking ground within the next 5 years. I believe every community needs Black supermarkets, Black school, Black hospital, Black pharmacy, and we need to learn to support each other. And that's not taken away from anywhere else. I just think a small piece of the pie that we run to pay our bills or go to the mall with, we should spend amongst each other and strengthen each other because back in the day with Black Wall Street and other places, this already had happened. And other cultures already do this without being told to do it. But with the unity being stripped from our ancestors over the last 400 or 500 years, we need to reteach basic things to our own community. And that's not a slight. It's just that the true power that we have spiritually and mentally can come out instead of just the athletic or the physical that you see on the football field. So I am a mentor. I'm a big brother. I am a teacher. I am a student. I am an entrepreneur. and I'm a lover of people, of all people. I am a mixed gentleman. My mother is Caucasian. My father is straight out the projects. So I see things from both sides. I see how they operate in different modes. So I felt it important to mix everything together and see how we are humans first, and everything else comes behind that. But I'm focusing on our community because our community seems to have been stripped the most when it comes to unity and the knowledge of ourselves.
Awesome. Denard, could you introduce yourself, please?
I love it. You got your government name right. I love that. Denard. Okay. I'm Denard. I go by Wiley G. I'm from Gainesville. I was born and raised in Lake City, and I'm a part of this panel discussion as well.
Yes.
I appreciate Ghost for allowing me some of my experiences. I was raised by my dad my whole life. I have 4 boys of my own that I've been raising.
And that's huge for us because neither one of us were raised
Right.
by our father, and he has been. So we definitely needed that input from him.
Yeah, so I have my own little dynamic that I bring to the discussion, just from experiences. You know, like I said, my dad raised me. I have four kids of my own, 2 grandkids. So I've had a lot of experience in this lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, that gives me a little insight. You know, to kind of bring some knowledge to the discussion through experience, as well as other things that I've encountered along the way.
And the heart of this guy is one of the reasons we brought him on the show. He has a heart like you wouldn't believe, from my perspective anyway. In all the years I've known him, seeing him amongst the youth and promoting and all the things he's done, you don't find a genuine heart like Wiley G very often, like either one of these gentlemen, actually.
Appreciate it.
That is absolutely amazing. I have had the privilege of seeing the behind the scenes shots. I really think this is going to be an awesome asset to the community.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
My first question would be, what is the goal? What do you really want the people to walk away with?
We're going to start with Councilor Damon on this one.
Knowledge. We need them to walk away with a level of knowledge that can not just be set in place for today,
Mhm.
but it needs to be set in place to help grow. We're trying to plant a seed.
Mhm.
And I think that's the best way to put it. A lot of times we got to look at things in the way of planting the seed.
Mhm.
We got to dig up all the weeds
Mhm.
from in the garden that we've already laid our lives in. We got our lives already put together. And a lot of times the families that we're addressing, the community that we're addressing, the things that they got going on, man, there's so many weeds
Yes.
that have grown up in our flower bed that you can't even see the beauty.
Wow.
You can't see the beauty. That's just it.
Well,
What do you think your goal is for this?
Well, one thing that I have seen that works, even in my what we say is actually sticking with people.
Yes.
So I believe what we're trying to do, like Damon said, is we want to create a space to where the things we discuss, little witty things that are said, like you can hear our voice in a time where something presents itself, and there's something that we may have said here on this panel that you can reference that actually get you through that space. So, like you say, just turning over a new leaf of thought, hearing different perspectives, and just knowing that we can actually say something here that can stick long term,
Yeah.
and that people can actually use something we say at some point.
So I think the overall goal of this show, Precious, is to make a change in our communities, one community at a time or multiple communities at a time. I want both of these gentlemen to have something digital that lasts forever, that their grandkids will say, man, look at great-great-granddad and the thoughts he had on what a Black father should be. So the goal really is to change the dynamic on how the male operates and takes back over leadership in the Black household, which lately had been held by the female. God bless her soul, because we hadn't been doing what we're supposed to do. The true goal is to interject a spiritual change into the Black family, a mental change into the Black household, an emotional overtaking of love into the Black household, in something that people can share and discuss amongst themselves as well as with us.
Awesome. It's much needed. When we look
Yes.
at the statistics of the suspensions, the dropout rate, the incarceration rate,
Yeah.
we see that this is needed. Now, this is going to
Yeah.
be a little touchy question, but I'm going to ask it and I want you to answer honestly. What
Yes.
do you feel like the fathers need from the mothers to change the scenario of what's happening right now with our children?
That's a great question. Councilor Damon, I'm gonna let you jump off first, sir.
Understanding.
Understanding.
Words I was gonna say.
Understanding. I really feel that I think we're misunderstood.
Mm.
I think for a large part, we told trauma, and it's unseen trauma.
Yeah.
We don't talk. You know, our upbringing was to not talk, to stay, you know, to not communicate our feelings. So what we're having right now is the mothers or the wives or the girlfriends, whomever they are, they have got to be able to understand the man that they're considering to be their significant other. And in understanding, you got to go all the way back.
Right.
You got to go back to where the trauma started.
Trauma was, yes.
That way we can understand, okay, this is what's going on. This is why he acts this way. This is why he responds this way. And I think that's personally, that's my
Understanding. Why did you?
I took yours, bro.
Nope. I think that
His was dual.
yeah, it would really just kind of lateral what you're saying. What we need from the Black women, is that the question?
Yes.
So what we need is for the women to understand that in our eyes, the place that the Black women hold to us, we're looking for not necessarily the same love that our mothers give, but you're in that position to where the love that you give is a drawing love.
Yeah,
You understand?
Yes.
We need our women to understand that we don't appreciate the such hardcore side of them. When we commit to them and the things that we want from them, we look for you to almost replace that mother's love in a sense. To know that we come to you for the nurturing, for the tender side,
Right.
for the soft-spoken words.
Because the world is on attack.
That's right. The
All
world
the
is
time.
constantly on attack toward us. So the last thing we would need is to know and to even feel like you're going to attack us. We just want to be loved unconditionally by the Black woman.
I love that. I love both of those answers. Sis, I'm going to say humility. I've seen a movement, even with my mother, and I'm the product of this movement in the country, where a woman can do everything a man can do. And they're being pushed to the point where that's so much true that they feel like they don't need a man. And so for me, I'm going to say I would ask for humility in a way, and for a woman to be able to humble themselves even for a moment, to allow us in a space that we can create true leadership. But that man has to earn that, because until that man earns his spot, I completely understand a woman doing everything a man can do, getting money, running a company, doing everything. And she can still do that when she gets a man. But I need her to have enough humility that if that man is leading in the correct direction, that their businesses or their visions coincide to the way God created things, and they are a team and they become one. So I guess I would say from all the women out there that are interested in a Black male who's constantly under attack currently, and since he's been here and stepped foot on this continent, I would need I would ask a little humility, I guess, in a age of women's liberation coming up more and more, which is also under attack with Roe versus Wade being struck down. So now some women are gonna even feel like they have to prove themselves even more, when the majority of men in this country don't feel like Roe versus Wade being struck down was correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even though I might not believe in the case of abortion, that doesn't mean I believe I have the right to tell a woman what to do.
That's right.
So
That's
that's kind of where we are at this time. So we got understanding, unconditional love, and humility. So far, sis, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Okay. As a woman, the one thing that I will say is the Willie Lynch letter plays a whole
Oh,
big, tremendous role in what is going on. The other
Yes.
thing is the spiritual battle that is going on
Yes.
also has a huge role. And
Yes.
part of it is, as a woman, I believe I'm supposed to submit. I believe that my husband is the head of the house. But part of the issue going on, why women are not giving you the things you're describing, is because when a woman submits and makes you the head of the house, and then you do nothing,
Mm.
Can I
it all
say something, Ms.
on
Precious?
her.
May I say something, Ms.
So,
Precious?
yes, most definitely.
I like what you just said, because I said it.
Mm.
It's in Colossians. I don't remember the book.
Right.
I don't remember the chapter, but it's in Colossians.
Yes.
But it talks about how the woman is supposed to submit. But it then also goes into how the man is supposed to love,
Like Christ loved the
like
church.
Christ loved the church.
Yes.
In my study Bible, it talks about the only way the woman can submit willingly is if the man of the husband shows her unconditional love without making her feel bad, without putting her down,
Right.
without belittling her, because all of those things create the bitterness
Right.
in the wife that creates lack of submission.
Yes. And if a man
Exactly.
is not doing that, it also creates fear.
Yes.
And a woman should
Exactly.
not have to operate out of fear.
So I appreciate you for saying that. Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. So what I've realized from my studies is that because from all that has happened to the black male and the woman seeing him totally destroyed, we then kicked into a mode where we needed to protect our sons from going through the pain that our men went through.
Yes.
In the
Yeah.
meantime, the men seeing the older men destroyed
Yes.
or backed up and lost their bite.
Yes.
Somewhere in the process, before the men begin to look for the women, the healing has to start within them.
Right.
Because when the broken man, when the man who's on the couch all day playing PlayStation, when the man who thinks that sex is love,
Mm.
for the man that thinks that demanding orders is leadership versus coming as one and finding balance. When you bring those things into the situation, it makes it hard for us to understand. It makes it hard for us to have humility. It makes it
Yes.
hard for us to give you unconditional love if because you're so broken, you don't know what love really is. Because in
agree.
some situations, you think love is me saying yes, yes, yes. But sometimes love is going to make me say, no, don't do that.
Right.
That's going to destroy your life. No, you know? And so the balance, how, as the example, as the role model, as those teaching young men how to walk as good fathers, good husbands, how are you going to, especially you, counselor, meet them at that point of pain and encourage them, show them how to find the inner healing to bring that balance back?
Ooh,
That's a fantastic question.
that's a really good question.
Let me start, sis.
That's really
I'm gonna take over real quick and change up the order. But let me just say one of the most important differences between what God creates and what you see here before you and yourself, and what we as man and humankind create. We can go out and create a Tesla, or electric car, or a Ford or a Chevy that can run, or build a house. But what God creates is something that is organic, always changing, always healing, always rebuilding itself. And this is the answer to the question of balance. When I look for the woman and kind of look for the humility in her, I also need that humility because I'm growing, I'm forever evolving, and I'm looking for her to do the same with me. And that acceptance in a spiritual way creates two healthy physical cells. Let me say it again.
Yes.
Stress is the physical manifestation of spiritual wickedness. That means spiritual wickedness comes into play in a physical way in stress in our bodies, which we promote on each other. You know this. This is something you teach. So for me, I think the answer in that balance is looking for a woman who can also accept me as I grow, as I evolve, as I accept her with all her faults and shortcomings, but she's working on them. As she accepts me for my faults and shortcomings as we work on them. And if we can teach the young Black father or the young father period on the show to look for a woman with those qualities as he works on himself, growth is the key, because that's the difference in what God creates and what we as humankind create. But I'm gonna defer back here to Counselor Damon because I know he got his thoughts together.
I just really think the biggest picture is just being real. I love what I do when I go into homes and I'm talking to families, because what I get a chance to do is I get a chance to let them understand that it's okay to not be okay.
It is. It's okay to need help.
It's, I've gone through things as well. A lot of times people think that when you're a little bit higher than them, so they think you're a little bit higher than them, or that you live differently than them in a higher way of looking at it, that you've never gone through things.
Right. That's what they think.
And
So
it's incorrect.
It's highly incorrect, and I try to. My life is an open book, and I explain to them, look, man, I've seen this before. I've lived like this before. I understand what it's like to not know where your next meal is coming from. But I also understand what it took for me to get out of that road.
Yes.
And my job at that point is to give them what I've seen, but then also give them a direction.
Right. So the experience added with solutions or guidance into it is what Counselor Dana is saying. Wiley G, what do you think about the balance? What would you say to the young fathers as far as keeping them in balance when they come in contact with a real woman?
Keeping them in balance? First off, you just always got to do what's on your heart to do.
Being real.
That's it. Just do what's on your heart to do. Because naturally we all want to do the right thing first, I believe. So, you just have to just know that nothing is perfect. And you get a chance to write your story.
Ooh,
I like that. Well, you get a chance to write your story.
You get a chance to write your story. And knowing that nobody else's experience has to be in account to how you write your story.
That's right.
You are responsible for yourself and for your leadership.
That's right. And you're ultimately responsible for the results that you get.
Accountability. Ooh, you get me in over.
Well, I'm just saying. So that's just the main thing, to know that it's your life. All of your decisions will definitely come with some type of outcome.
Yeah.
So do good even when nobody's looking, and just feel good about you doing good.
And let me jump in real quick, sis, if you don't mind. I want to say to your audience who might not understand it, the dynamic that you and I have with me calling you sis, Precious Swain Peaks is a fantastic leader in the world not just in this community. So I call her sis because her spirit is like a kindred spirit to my own, where we want the best for all people, starting with our own, but we want the best for everyone. And she's that type of servant. She's that type of leader. She's that type of queen. So, sis, I just had to say that because they might not understand when I call you yes, sis.
Yes. As I promised, I'm not going to keep you guys long, but I do have one last question.
Okay.
Before I ask that question, I want all three of you to understand that I fully support the movement.
Thank
I
you.
highly appreciate each of you. I think that Brian is the only one that does not have a personal relationship with me. Both
Mm.
Ghost
That's
and Wiley are my brothers. And it means a lot to see them do this because I know some of the things that they do behind the scenes. I know some of the things they do with children when no one are looking and no one else is listening. I know the backstories. So
Yeah.
my last question um, is what would you say to draw people to watch not just this first season, but to stay looped in, to come see you guys talk live, to book you to come to their city and make these presentations? What would you say?
Wiley, I'm gonna start over here with you, sir. What's the draw to come see Black Fathers if we step out to Jacksonville, we go to Atlanta, we shoot to Houston, Chicago? Why should they come see Black Fathers?
I would just tell them to stay tuned because it's gonna get greater later.
Get greater later.
Yeah.
I love it. That's
I
right.
like that.
Yeah.
Now, sis, I'm gonna short answer them a little bit because I know you're pressed for time. Counselor Damon, what you got?
If you're looking for a direction to improve your past direction, stay with us.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say the draw to Black Fathers and why you would want to book us or come to a show we might be recording live in your city is because every issue that we are going to attack is universal. It's not just something going on in Florida. It's not just something going on in Chicago or California, New York. Even it might be going on in Nigeria. It could be going on in Singapore. It's a universal show of love, healing, and solution. So we also have a lot of fun. It can be entertaining. So I know Wiley G over here, keeps us laughing plenty of times. We keep each other laughing.
Yeah.
So we have fun. We are we're not, our motive is not just something of monetary value or pride or spotlight. We genuinely want to make a difference in these communities, in the lives of the people who watch us, and to be a great representation of people like yourself, Precious, who really have the best interests of others at heart. And I want to thank you for the shows you've done, for all you've done supporting us in the past. And if I haven't had a chance to say, but I have the greatest admiration for you in the way you conduct yourself. And you are a beacon of all women, not just Black women, to look up to and to aspire to grow on the path that you're on, my sister.
So salute to you.
We salute.
Definitely.
Precious Swing Peace.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much. I'm so happy to have you. I look forward to having you again when we have a little more time. And I look forward to the introduction of the Black Fathers book that will be dropping. Again, we have the panel from Black Fathers. They will be going live in approximately 14 days on I Make Stars and Swain Girl Media on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, and of course on SwainGirlMedia.com. Please check out their Facebooks and Ghost Williams YouTube to catch them live. They're streaming live. You can catch the behind the scenes. You can catch Wiley G cutting up and making everybody laugh. You can catch the behind the scenes with Brian giving real insightful information and great tips on how to get help. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of From the Desk of Precious Swain. As always, we pray that you're blessed, that you find peace, and that you grow.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.